All right. So, what I want to talk about today is the Liberty Safe debacle before it gets cold and no one cares about it anymore. I really wasn't thinking about it too much until I gave it a little bit more thought from my co-host. And the issue behind it is again an issue of culture and an issue of not having some type of homogenous culture, but the implications that I'm not so sure people are thinking about. This is a a problem of corporatism because you are licensing a safe from a manufacturer who's licensing the permission to make the safe from the federal government in this case. And this is not how it should function. You should be buying a product that is your product and you own it and you can do whatever you want with it once you have it. So if you as a customer want to have a feature which is a backdoor, then you should be able to pay extra for it. And if the company doesn't offer that as a feature, then you should be able to go to a different company that does offer it as a feature and then get it. That's the free market, the idea behind it at the very least. So in this case, the fact that the government doesn't allow you to facilitate in commerce, again, this is a First Amendment violation, to engage in commerce with somebody else without putting caveats on things. Um, that a company would put a backdoor into their own product without telling the customer. And again, remember a few years ago, Apple, the huge globalist company that has no ethics or morals, decided that they were going to tell the federal government no, that they weren't going to comply to a warrant, partially because they said that they don't build backdoors into their products, which I don't believe, but that's what they said. So in this case, it you know you're the you have functioning fascism when you have the collusion between the state and business. In this case, that the government thinks it's okay to be able to come in and tell a company to do something just from the pure fact that the company the government can come in and ask is going to be some type of coercion because it puts a company in a position because they're paying taxes and they have other regulatory things that they need to do that they have to basically make a business decision. Would we rather upset the government or would we rather do the right thing? And if you have a homogenous culture, then the government wouldn't even ask in the first place, and your social systems would be selecting out the people that would do it. Again, the problem with this, and I bring it up, is when I saw this, Liberty Safe's CEO's Obama donation spark renewed backlash. I mean, if you aren't doing your due diligence into the people that you're hiring to run your companies, and this is a gun safe company, and you're selecting for people that would give campaign contributions to somebody. Now you can say, hey, not everybody wastes the time to know what they're paying for, but then that's a problem because you've hired a CEO who doesn't even vet his political contributions. He doesn't know what the actual person that he's giving money to actually believes in. And again, you're lacking this homogeny. That's why the U.S. should have this bipartisan system where we're trying to stay towards the center of not having too much division within our country. Good luck with that, right? But again, the idea behind this, if you don't want to be leasing products from a company that you think that you're buying, and you don't want a company to basically be acquiescing to your privacy and to the government in order to create a bad product. You're not actually buying a safe. You're buying the idea of a safe. And again, I'm reading my notes. You don't have privacy unless someone else grants it to you. In this case, the government grants the safe company permission to make the illusion of privacy and then sell that to the consumer. This is really bad. This is your corporatism, and this is your consumerism, and this is all that fancy stuff wrapped up in a bow. In this case, the other part of it is like the feds, the FBI should have never asked for the warrant. The judge never should have granted it, and there's end runs being done around the Fourth Amendment, your right to privacy, the Fifth Amendment, the right to not incriminate yourself. The idea that you can say, no, I'm not going to answer that question. No, I'm not going to give you my property, and the government can just go, that's okay. We don't need your permission. We can just go to somebody else and they'll grant you, they'll answer the question for you. That's horrible. The culture at Liberty Safe that I brought up before, that why are you, there's so many problems, so many failures at this company that no one said, stop, time out. We shouldn't be making a product with a back door in it. We shouldn't be acquiescing to the government. We shouldn't be hiring a guy for gun safes that is anti-Second Amendment. No one stopped and said, hey, I have a problem with this. We shouldn't be putting Jews in the oven. Like, that's what's going on at a company like this, to miss all these things and then to finally try and write a bad statement to your consumers to only make it work, saying that we never realized that we were this bad a company. That's even funnier. I think that's about all I have to say, other than I was thinking about this, and what finally made me think about it was the final amendment that this kills, besides chilling the First and Second Amendment. You no longer have privacy. You're only renting it. You no longer have a Second Amendment because the government can come, take your stuff. I'll talk about New Mexico shortly, one of these days. But the biggest thing is our good friend, the Third Amendment, that no one wants to think about. That you cannot be compelled to house soldiers, outside of wartime prescribed by law. I was doing a thought experiment with this the other day, a while back, when it came to the government, like in New York, compelling people to put migrants into their private property, and I thought to myself, like, that violates the Third Amendment, because that allows the government to turn migrants into agents of the state, i.e. soldiers, and then house them in people's houses, and then there goes your Fourth Amendment, your right to privacy. And you're, in this case, like, if you're wondering, the fact that the government can put property into your house and then turn around at any given time and just be able to go look at your property, the government is compelling you to put an agent of the state into your home, and then you no longer have this expectation of privacy based off of this. You are leasing the illusion that you have privacy, because the government will come in at any time and take it away. So anyway, that's just some of my thoughts. Hopefully someone finds it slightly interesting.